and capable service, namely enabled by Ethernet. So those are some significant challenges that way. And again, as the regulation and the competitive environment continue to introduce uncertainty, that certainly makes all investments that much more difficult and more critical assessment prior to doing that. The other thing to think about, I feel, is the innovation piece, as was mentioned. Innovation, where do you draw the line? Where do you want to participate in the telecom value stream? How much of the adjacent businesses do you want to integrate into your business, and how much do you want to just settle for where you are? To use Gary's word, which I don't think is right, but the dumb pipe concept certainly is a business model that is easy to understand, but may not be relevant. And so how do you continue to invest and innovate, even simply in something as a pipe, namely in the form of quality of service, classes of service, and how can you provide value to the evolving telecom, namely in this case wholesale value stream?
Good job. First question is going to come for you. I'm just warning you. Mike, you're up.
Thank you. It's going to be an interesting discussion with the diversity of companies on the panel. For those of you who don't know, Rogers Communications is a large wireless operator. We represent about 40% of the market share in Canada. We're a large cable operator with a full suite of voice data and video services, representing about 30% of the market share in Canada. And we have media assets ranging over television, print, and radio. I think I was struck by the title of the panel, Telecoms in Uncertain Times, and I think the word uncertain is driven off of the fact that we tend to generally all exist within, at least on the carrier side of the business, in recurring subscriber revenue businesses, which have a fair amount of certainty with regards to the predictability of the revenue stream, the predictability of the profitability of the business. And so as we start moving and transition into building upon that into areas which are less about subscription revenue and more sometimes about indirect revenue streams, whether it be transaction or advertising based, you do get into a situation where it's not as clear as the path of investment and the path of profitability against that. So I just thought there's a few things that we're thinking about just generally, and I thought I'd just throw them out there. I think the first one is that it's interesting that we continue to have these discussions about the future of the business when I would argue that we are in a period now, and will probably continue to go forward in that period, where consumers are more engaged with the products than they've ever been in history. If you think about the way the voice business works, it has definitely changed. But your relationship with voice communication with others, whether that be mobile, whether that be fixed, whether that be IP-based, whether that be features within gaming, is at a higher level now than it has ever been. I think we're about to see, if we're not already started down that path, that same almost renaissance with video, where we've traditionally been in a broadcast linear environment, and that's the predominant method of experiencing that product, and we're going to see an absolute explosion of video. And so when you start with the basis that consumers are and customers are more engaged, perceive higher value with the products and services that they experience as a result of the infrastructure or a result of the packages that you provide, that is a good baseline. It is better than being in a business where there's the declining interest in the core product, which is the case with some industries. So I think that's the first one. I do think that I thought we talked about a little bit of that this morning, that there has to be a significant culture change that happens in the industry. We talk about open systems, we talk about the availability of services, and we still exist for the most part within a closed system culture. We, if we look at, if you're honest about the way you look at the internals of how the companies work, even though we may be in much more competitive environments now, we may be offering many more products, and some of the systems that we offer now are more open in nature. The culture of the companies that we have tends still to be closed. They still tend to have a control sort of orientation. And as we look forward in terms of new business models, new methods of interacting with related parties, with development different development communities, with consumers themselves who have more control, sort of this move to an open culture, to understanding how to embrace that change, is going to be very, very important for us. Which brings me to customer relationship. The customer relationship piece, again, I think, again, driven by the legacy of the fact that we have historically been in recurring revenue relationships with our customers. We have not focused so much on how consumers use our products, just that they continue to pay us at the end of each month. And when you look at the nature of the change going on, the way in which they use our products, the information about how they use our products, and how we turn that in knowledge and data into intelligence to produce new products for them, and then also to empower third-party products, that's going to be very, very important, and I think will be a general theme for the industry going forward. And that means, from a system perspective, we're going to have to move away from batch-based systems to real-time systems. We have historically sitting on a lot of legacy batch-based systems, and if you are trying to match together the vision for where we're going with regards to an industry and all of this phenomenal opportunities with regards to advertising and transaction commerce and other two-sided models that are being talked about, the systems that are sitting in our back office are going to have to match up against that, and they're going to have to be real-time transaction systems. They cannot be batch systems. Batch systems do not provide enough information in the right amount of time to make anything actionable. And I just say the last one is that from a regulatory perspective, just to a previous point, we need to have a regulatory environment that makes it possible to continue to innovate without predetermined conditions as to how the business models need to work going forward. We've gone through 15 years now of phenomenal growth on the internet, and it is as a result of letting market forces work. And I think we continue to need to be able to allow market forces to work to encourage the kind of innovation that's going to be necessary to justify the continued investment in the networks and the infrastructure and the services that everybody's working on today. Thanks.
Okay, so I was teasing Don about getting the first question. The first question actually is for all the panel members, but to key off of something Mike just said, and that Don also mentioned, the sort of environment of regulatory clarity that we need to keep investing in, and it's very important. The capital markets don't like uncertainty. We know that from experience. In each of the various countries and regions of the world that each of you are operating in, what are the unsettled issues that we really need to nail down so that investors can proceed, plans can be made, technology can be bought, services created?
Okay. Do you want me to begin? Okay. Obviously Orange operating in 30 countries with 173 millions of customers, we are under the scrutiny of the financial market, and the issue of the sustainability of our business model is key. And I would say that the key question is more the sustainability of what we do, meaning that the legacy services plus the new services, rather than the constraint brought by the regulation in the different countries we're in. Obviously, in Europe, we have the European landscape, and where we have quite a strong regulatory, let's say, pressure. But as the competition is fairly open, we also know that we can play with that. Let's say by playing, we can work perfectly with that. And we've learned a lot as Orange, simply because we are incumbents in some countries and we are the newcomers in some others. So we are a bit schizophrenic, trying to push or to pull, that type of things. But clearly the key question that we see from the financial market is more about what do you do within the regulatory framework you're in. And just one question or one example for France is the fiber optic network that we are investing in, which is absolutely crucial because we are delivering a service which is €49, meaning more or less $65 for 100 megabytes. And it's about, is it open network for the others or not? So this is a key question that we may have, but then it's something that